Well, thank you for coming. And maybe for some people who have heard of you and have heard of Avila but don't know a lot about you, do you want to start by just giving a little bit of your background, a short run through of your career before you tell us some stories?
I could do a short run.
Yeah, that's fine.
Several people asked me, first of all, how did I get to the diocese? And why did I stay so long? So my story was, before I came here, I was a teacher in the Diocese of Philadelphia. I taught from 3rd and 4th grade to high school to college to a couple courses at the seminary in Philadelphia. So that was my teaching career. Then people started coming to me for some spiritual companioning or spiritual direction. And that's when I thought, well, I think I better get closer to God if they're coming to me. So I went to the foothills of the Catskills in a hermitage. And I spent 40 days and 40 nights in silence, in prayer, and a modified type of fasting. Usually my lunch was a beautiful New York apple. Please get yourself an apple, Paul, because
sounds good.
They're delicious. So, so then when I came back, I was offered a job being an associate minister in a retreat center. It was a couple jobs. One with the Jesuits outside of Reading, Pennsylvania, outside there, and one with the Passionist priests right outside of Catonsville, Maryland. So Passionist priest, Ernie, Paul, and myself, we were the retreat team. The most amazing people would come from all over just to come into our retreats. And that was for 2 years we did that. The 3rd year, going into the 3rd year, I got a call from my provincial. And she said, Damian, would you like to go to North Carolina? And I said, no. Then I came up with, well, is God in North Carolina? And of course she said, go and see. So, okay, so I was scheduled to come down here to see. And Paul and Ernie and myself had just given a retreat to 36 Baltimore City policemen. Tough weekend. And I was supposed to go to the airport and come down here that Sunday evening. It was raining in Baltimore and raining down here. Father Don Stibe, a lot of parishioners know him. Father Don Stibe and Sister Ann picked me up. And I thought, oh Lord, I'm so tired. I sat in the back seat being good, you know, real quiet and good. And we're riding out until finally I had it. I said, are we almost there? And when I did, Paul, I looked out at the road sign. The road sign said Infinity Road. So you know, infinity, if you're riding here, it goes that way. This is my vow ring here. And engraved very deeply is the word infinity.
Really?
So I'm sitting on the back seat saying to God, please, don't start signs and symbols and, you know, please. So we got out there and, oh dear. It was dark, with due respect to the place. It was dark, raining. There wasn't any parking lot. It was all woods. Everything was woods. There were 2 little retreat cabins. And I'm supposed to be giving birth to a retreat center. But I did say to my provincial and to the bishop, if I do come down, I want it to be an ecumenical retreat center. I want it to be for all denominations. Sister Cam's father is Jewish, and mine was Methodist. And when I was in Allentown, Bishop McShay up there, right after Vatican II, appointed me, the only woman, to be on the council for ecumenism. So I learned so much about ecumenism. So it was agreed I could do that. And so we came down, we rode all around, and I thought, no way. God does not want me here, you know. Are you listening, God? You know, God does not want me to come here, you know. So they said, you know, your provincial sent your papers. We really want you to take the job. And I said, I really have to go back and pray. Well, I wasn't being totally honest. I have to say that because I didn't want to come. And I thought, no. But I guess why I said that. So it wasn't a big lie, it was just a little one. And then, so it was time to go to spend the night with one of our sisters who was the superintendent of schools for the diocese here. So I stayed overnight with Regina, and I'm sleeping in the room, the middle of the night. I didn't hear voices, and I didn't see visions or anything. But something kept just rotating, just going around and around in my mind saying, go back out there today. And I'm saying, no, I'm going to go home, you know, but I couldn't go back to sleep until I said, all right, I'll borrow sister's car and I'll go out there. I went to sleep. So the next morning I got Regina's car, came out to Avila, looking around. It still wasn't pretty, walking all around. And I was looking at it sort of in a different light, you know, saying, oh, look at that, and here we could put cottages up there, we could do this, you know. And there was a junk room. I made it into a second meeting room, knocked out a wall, made a big meeting room. And there was so much junk and everything around. And I knelt in the middle of that floor, Paul. And I said to God, what do you want me to do? And it was like the peace and the presence of God sort of entered the pores, you know, of my fingers and my toes and my whole body. And I can honestly say, with what I felt, what I was experiencing, I would have been happy to stay there forever. It was God. And so anyway, usually, if you make a right decision, there's usually a certain amount of peace that enters that. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wish I could take what I did. Okay, so I came back, went back, hopped the plane, went to Baltimore, and called my provincial and said, Eleanor, I'll go. And she said, Damian, you could have fooled me, you know, this. And I said, but I asked you if God was in North Carolina. And I know God is, because I experienced God in North Carolina. That started the story. That started the story of 37 years, giving birth to doing things that I never knew. Designing cottages with back and front patios and rooms. I went through the Franciscan spirituality of, you know, going away and praying, but you can't stay there or it becomes sort of navel gazing if you just stay in a spot, but to come back and share it with the community. That was it. And we made it. We never had a problem. Made the budget all the time, you know. And it was something. If I could write a book on miracles and God's presence in that retreat center, which is sad because not everybody knows that at the diocese. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but at the diocese everybody doesn't know that. But it's a shame. It's a shame. So anyway, that was that. And people didn't quite understand. They said, you've been a nun for 67 years? And I said, yes, well, it doesn't feel like it, you know, 67 years. Well, whatever kept you there? And I have to tell this story. When I was 7 years old, we came from Baltimore, Maryland. My parents, they were not rich. We had everything we needed, but Dad, 2 jobs, all of this, and 2 sisters and a brother and myself. There was a bakery in Maryland on Aiken Street that they would sell a bag of broken up cake for 5 cents. You get a big brown bag of broken up cake. So one day Mom said to me, "Hon, here's a nickel, go up and get a cake." So the other kids had the milk, and I went up, got the cake, and came back. Remember, I'm 7 years old, so I'm getting a little sophisticated. And she opened the bag of cake on the table. Of course, they all grabbed for whatever they wanted. And I sat there, and Mom said, "Helen, aren't you going to have some cake?" And I said, "Are we ever going to have a whole cake?" 7 years old. And she looked at me and she said, "Sometime we will have a whole cake." She said, "But I know this much won't be as much fun. Look here, you have," I guess a cake fell on the floor, broken up or whatever. "Here you have cherry, you have chocolate, you have different kinds, and you can pick, you can have a good time with this cake." So anyway, she was right, because I have compared that to my religious life. Paul, 67 years of beautiful pieces of cake. Beautiful pieces of cake. I loved each one, each piece. Never regretted 1 minute of religious life. And so in a couple weeks, I'm going to sort of be eating my last piece of cake. And I know it's going to be just as beautiful. And I want to thank the good people of St. Matthew's. Thank you for all your kindness to me, for your support, for your love, gosh, for your friendship, for your prayers. And I just want to thank you, Paul, for this chance to tell everybody that you can have God experiences outside the church, wherever you are. And I thank God it's God who has brought me here and has kept me here.